लिए ऋणी हैं कि आप लोगों ने अपना अमूल्य समय देकर के इस अवसर को अच्छा बनाया है। और सभी डेलीगेट्स from my bottom of my heart, I am welcoming you. You might have enjoyed. There are many shortcomings, I know, but bear with us, and I am sorry for that. And we would like to assure you that tomorrow onwards there won't be any problem. Scientific program is a bit messy, but it will be organized. So I wish you all the best, and thank you very much for coming.
Now we call Dr. Sally Okusar, Advisory Department of Radiation Oncology, Sir Gangaram Hospital, New Delhi, for the few words.
Dr. Jaiswal, Dr. Madhu, Dr. Pawan, Dr. Shalab, Dr. Mahmood Khan, Dr. Paul, and Dr. Chaturvedi, friends, ladies and gentlemen. It is always a pleasure when your old friend invites you to his place. Of course, you need a reason, and the reason is the conference. What I mean to say is that me and Dr. Chaturvedi have been friends for a long time, and the greatest, to keep friendship regularly. And when you meet, you kind of revive your friendship. I was here last time, I think, when I was president of AROI, I think it was 2011. So when from the airport I was coming in the taxi at night, the driver was asking me, आपको मैं मेरिट ड्राइव के साथ से ले चलता हूँ और देखिए गोरखपुर कैसा लगा। आप पहले गोरखपुर आए थे? मैंने कहा शायद 10-15 साल पहले आए। वो कहता आपको ये याद है ये तालाब? तो मैंने कहा मुझे कुछ याद नहीं है, पर ये मुझे याद है कि उस टाइम जब मैं गोरखपुर आया था तो ऐसे हाथ धोता था तो 15 मच्छर हाथ में आ जाते थे। But that Gorakhpur and this Gorakhpur, it is a tremendous change. We are very happy to see the development of Gorakhpur, and in addition to that, so many cancer centers here. But I will compliment Dr. Chaturvedi and his family who have settled in Gorakhpur so many years ago, when Gorakhpur did not have facilities and to bring oncology to this part of the country. So, great compliment to you and many more, successes to you. And I am very happy to the Executive Committee of UP to have remembered me for oration this time. I have been member of the UP for many years. I don't know when it was established, but I think it was established somewhere around 1990 or so. When I was in Lucknow, I was part of it, and the friends keep on calling me. Last time I was at Power Hydrogen, meeting in Bareilly. So I wish the future organizers are listening and keep me inviting for all the UP meetings so that I can revive my friendship. Thank you very much, Dr. Chaturvedi and UP for this invitation. We enjoyed the day. I hope you'll enjoy the evening. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Now we call on the speech Dr. Paul sir for the Shiva's.
The chairperson of the organizing committee and all the dignitaries on the dais and of the audience. As you all know, we are organizing the 36th UP conference. The first one was organized at Lucknow, and we were just very few members of that. The second one was at Allahabad, now the Prayagraj. That also we had very few members those days. But subsequently we had carried out this program of UP conference at various cities in Uttar Pradesh. And today we are organizing this UP at Gorakhpur, I think for the second time. Third time, yeah. Third time we are doing, and well organized. I congratulate all the chairperson, secretary, and all the members of the organizing committee who are doing an excellent show on this occasion. And hope everyone has gained which scientific program today we have and what we are going to have tomorrow, and we are going to have all those evening cultural programs and social functions. Thank you very much. Thank you for the organizing committee.
Thank you, sir. Now we call our organizing secretary UP 36 UP Arakan 2025, Dr. Mahmood Khan for few words.
Good evening. A lot of thanks to all of you to join this program, and my special thanks to our chief guest, Professor R.K. Jaiswal, sir, Principal BRD Medical College, who has spared time from his own conference of the ophthalmology to attend this program. And special thanks to our guest of honor, Dr. C.S. Madhu sir, and Dr. Sally Hokku sir, Dr. Pawan Mehrotra sir, Secretary UPRI, Dr. Sada Balam, and my special thanks for the courage, compassion, and passion to organize this program, our President Dr. A.K. Chaturvedi sir, who has made a lot of effort, and it is matter of courage because even we were having a very less manpower, but he has taken such a big responsibility and tirelessly he has worked for this program, and every member of our organizing team, Dr. Poonam and Dr. C.P. Vasti and Dr. Devas, he sacrificed many nights for this program, and it gives me immense pleasure to join you all today at the inauguration of 26th UPRI, a prestigious academic gathering dedicated to advancing the field of radiation oncology. This conference stands as a testament to the commitment and vision of our oncologists, researchers, and healthcare professionals who work tirelessly to improve cancer care and outcome for our patients. Cancer care in India is evolving rapidly, and the role of radiation oncology continues to grow in significance with the advent of precision medicine technology, innovation, and evidence-based protocols. This conference brings together experts and young minds to share knowledge, discuss breakthrough, and collaborate on strategies that will shape the future of cancer treatment of our state and our nation. I extend my heartfelt congratulations to organizing committee for creating this scientific platform and fostering academic excellence. I am confident that the deliberations over the coming days will inspire new ideas, strengthen clinical practice, and ultimately benefit our patients and society. I have hereby inaugurated the 26th UPRI and wish the conference great success. May this event pave the way for continuous advancement in radiation oncology with compassion, precision, and purpose. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. And now I from Principal BRD Medical College. Sir. Now I call on. Now I call on the stage Mr. Dev Kumar, Dr. Dev Kumar Yadav for the floral welcome of President ARI, Dr. Pawan Malhotra. Dev Kumar Yadav. Now I call on the stage.
Wait, sir. Look here. पीछे से वेट मैम वेट ओके मैम
Souvenir 36 UPI.
वेट सर
Chapter
सर सामने एक बार देखेंगे आप लोग
वेट सर
Rohan, Principal BRD Medical for few words.
36 EPR Con, local organizing president Dr. Chaturvedi sir, secretary Dr. Mamu.
इस धरती पे इस जगह पे आप सभी लोगों का मेरे तरफ से बीआरडी मेडिकल कॉलेज की तरफ से बहुत बहुत स्वागत है। कॉन्फ्रेंस
हेलो
जैसा हम जानते हैं
थोड़ा सा
कि
पीछे
स्टेट कॉन्फ्रेंस या लोकल सेमिनार सीएमई होते हैं, नेशनल कॉन्फ्रेंस और इंटरनेशनल कॉन्फ्रेंस। कॉन्फ्रेंस ही एक ऐसी जगह है कि जहाँ पे हम एक बेस्ट जो टीचिंग लर्निंग का मेथड वो हम लोग यहाँ पे करते हैं। यहाँ पे डेफिनेटली जितने भी हम लोग इंटरेक्शंस करते हैं, डिस्कशन करते हैं और जो रिसेंट एडवांसेस होते हैं उस पर भी डिस्कस करते हैं और एक सीनियर जूनियर जितने भी कंसल्टेंट्स हैं या रेजिडेंट्स हैं सभी एक दूसरे से मिलकर आपस में उसको डिस्कस करते हैं। आजकल कोई भी कॉन्फ्रेंस, कोई भी स्टेट कॉन्फ्रेंस या इवन सीएमई भी हम उसको एक बाउंड्री में नहीं मान सकते कि एक जस्ट स्टेट का है, क्योंकि आजकल जितने एडवांसेस हो गए हैं वर्चुअल मेथड से हम लोग इंटरनेशनल फैकल्टी को जोड़ लेते हैं, स्पीकर्स को जोड़ लेते हैं, नेशनल अच्छे अच्छे फैकल्टी को जोड़ लेते हैं। फिजिकल मोड में यहाँ पे जितने लोग भी आ सकते हैं आसपास के स्टेट के, अदर स्टेट के, नेशनल हो जाती है। तो अब ऐसी कोई चीज़ नहीं रही कि नहीं एक स्टेट लेवल की है या नेशनल लेवल की है या इंटरनेशनल लेवल की है। हर कॉन्फ्रेंसेस में लगभग जितने भी रिनोन फैकल्टी होते हैं मेरे ख्याल से मिल जाते हैं। आज पिछले 2 महीने से सितंबर, अक्टूबर, नवंबर गोरखपुर में स्टेट कॉन्फ्रेंसेस, पैथोलॉजी डिपार्टमेंट, एनाटॉमी डिपार्टमेंट, ऑर्थोपेडिक्स, नेशनल इंटरनेशनल कॉन्फ्रेंस, आर्कोलॉजी डिपार्टमेंट्स, आर्थो डिपार्टमेंट्स और भी कई जितने भी हो रहे हैं सभी कॉन्फ्रेंसेस गोरखपुर में हो रहे हैं। ये बहुत ही बड़ी खुशी की बात है कि हम लोग अब इस एकेडमिक की तरफ से
एकेडमिक की तरफ भी बहुत ही ज़्यादा इंटरेस्ट इस गोरखपुर के हमारे जो डॉक्टर है, सर्जन है, प्रैक्टिस कर रहे हैं या मेडिकल कॉलेज में है या और कहीं टेक्निक्स में है, उसमें इन्वॉल्व हो रहे हैं। आज उसकी बहुत ही ज़रूरत है। अगर हम रेडिएशन ऑन्कोलॉजी की बात करें, रेडियोथेरेपी की बात करें, तो इमेजिंग टेक्नोलॉजी कितनी एडवांस होती जा रही है, पैथोलॉजी, हिस्टोपैथोलॉजी कितनी एडवांस होती जा रही है, कीमोथेरेपी कितनी एडवांस होती जा रही है। सब में अगर इमेजिंग टेक्नोलॉजी की बात करें, सीस, एक्सरे, सीटी स्कैन, अल्ट्रासाउंड, एमआरआई, पेट, कीमोथेरेपी की बात करें उसमें भी एडवांस हो रही है। सारी की सारी जितनी एडवांसमेंट अपडेटेड हो रही है, सभी एडवांसमेंट वेस्टर्न कंट्री में हो रहे हैं, डेवलप्ड कंट्री में हो रहे हैं। और उस इक्विपमेंट्स को, उस मशीन को अपने स्ट्रक्चर में, इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर्स में अडॉप्ट करने के लिए कितनी एक्सपेंसिव है, हम सभी लोग उससे वाकिफ हैं। इवन मैन पावर की ट्रेनिंग भी उतनी एक्सपेंसिव है जितना हम मशीन या नए इक्विपमेंट्स अडॉप्ट करने लेने के लिए जितना वो एक्सपेंसिव, उससे भी ज़्यादा मैन पावर, ह्यूमन रिसोर्सेज की ट्रेनिंग भी उतनी ही एक्सपेंसिव है। तो आज ये समय की जरूरत है कि हम सभी लोग जितने भी मेडिकल साइंस के जितने लोग भी डॉक्टर हैं, जिस भी ब्रांच में हो, जिस भी स्पेशलिटी में हो, सब स्पेशलिटी में हो, अपना इंटरेस्ट इस रिसर्च डेवलपमेंट में, इनोवेशंस में, डिफरेंट ब्रांचेस से मिलकर के, अलग ब्रांचेस से, इंजीनियरिंग अलग लोगों से मिलकर उसमें हम लोगों को न्यू चीज़ें डेवलप करने की कोशिश करनी चाहिए, जिससे कि हम लोग एक क्लिनिकल ग्राउंड पे जो कीमोथेरेपी है या और भी मेथड्स है उसको चीपर कर सकें और जो न्यूअर इंस्ट्रूमेंट्स, मशीनें और सब चीज़ें डेवलप हो रही है, जो जितने भी मशीनें डेवलप हो रही हैं, उन सभी चीज़ों को डेवलप करने के लिए, अपनी टेक्नोलॉजी डेवलप करने के लिए हम सभी अपने इस समय हम लोगों को जरूरत है और आने वाले जो न्यू यंगस्टर्स हैं उनको मोटिवेट करने की जरूरत है कि वो लोग भी इस इनोवेशंस में, उसमें भी सभी एक्टिवली इन्वॉल्व हो, तभी हम अपने इस जो कंट्री है, एक डेवलप्ड नेशन, विकसित भारत की बात करते हैं 2047 तक, और अब हम विकसित उत्तर प्रदेश की बात करते हैं जो हम भी हो, तो उस सोच के साथ हम सभी मेडिकल साइंस के जितनी भी ब्रांचेस के हों, जितनी स्पेशलिटी के हों, हम सभी लोगों को आजकल मिलकर एक दूसरे से इंटीग्रेट करके, कोऑपरेट करके, कोलैबोरेशन करके, दूसरे एक्सट्रीम से कोलैबोरेशन करके हम लोगों को उसमें इन्वॉल्व होने की ज़रूरत है, इंटरेस्ट क्रिएट करने की ज़रूरत है। अदरवाइज हम लोग आज 80% जो टेक्नोलॉजी है, जो मशीन है, इम्पोर्ट 80 to 85-90% तक इम्पोर्ट करते हैं। तो ये इम्पोर्ट करने की जो रेट्स हमको कम करना पड़ेगा, जिससे कि हम अपने लोगों को, अपनी सोसाइटी के लोगों को चीप और बेस्ट डायग्नोसिस दे सकें, अर्ली डायग्नोसिस कर सकें और उनका ट्रीटमेंट कर सकें। इन्हीं सब लोग के साथ आप सभी लोगों को, लोकल ऑर्गेनाइजिंग टीम को, अपने नेशनल इंटरनेशनल जो भी फैकल्टी आए हुए हैं, आप सभी लोगों को आज और कल के लिए शुभकामनाएं देता हूँ कि ये जो रेडियोथेरेपी, रेडिएशन ऑन्कोलॉजी की आज जो कॉन्फ्रेंसेस हो रही है उसके लिए ढेर सारी शुभकामनाएं देता हूँ और आप सभी लोगों को बहुत बहुत बधाई देता हूँ। थैंक यू।
धन्यवाद डॉक्टर चतुर्वेदी। महीनों की ये अथक प्रयास जिसमें कि डॉक्टर मामून खान, डॉक्टर चतुर्पाणी, डॉक्टर नरेन, डॉक्टर पूनम गुप्ता, डॉक्टर देवांश, दीक्षा, मैं, डॉक्टर दीप्ति चतुर्वेदी सब एक साथ लगे रहे और तब जाकर के आज ये दिन आया है। तो हम उन सभी को, डॉक्टर आयुष गर्ग और पूरी इनकी टीम, दे हैव डन वंडरफुल जॉब अलॉन्ग विद डॉक्टर देवांश। कंप्यूटर में हम लोग तो उतना ज़्यादा नहीं जानते, नई पीढ़ी बहुत अच्छा जानती है। दे वर जस्ट प्लेइंग लाइक टॉय विद द कंप्यूटर एंड दे हैव मेड सच ए नाइस प्रेजेंटेशन, वेरी नाइस। जो हमारा ऑनलाइन क्विज हुआ है, फॉर द फर्स्ट टाइम वी हैव ऑर्गेनाइज्ड दिस ऑनलाइन क्विज एंड इट वाज वेरी नाइस, फैंटास्टिक, with the help of team Clarinet। आज जो इतना सारे डेलीगेट्स ने समय निकाला, यहाँ तक आए, गोरखनाथ की धरती को देखा। 92 में भी आप लोग आए थे, 2011 में डॉक्टर पॉल ऐसे ही बैठे हुए थे सभी लोग। इनकी सारी फोटो दोपहर में मैंने शेयर की थी, क्वाइट यंग, और हम लोग अब स्टेज में आ रहे हैं धीरे धीरे, एंड इट वॉज रियली वेरी नाइस टू सी ऑल दोस थिंग्स। हमारे प्रिंसिपल साहब ने इतना कीमती समय निकाला अपने बिजी शेड्यूल में, हालांकि आज ऑप्थेल्मोलॉजी की कॉन्फ्रेंस चल रही है, उसमें आपको फिर से जाना है, और मैं कहा नहीं आप यहाँ आइए, यहाँ भी देखिए हम लोग कर रहे हैं कुछ। तो डॉक्टर साहब आए, उन्होंने अपना कीमती समय दिया, बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद। डॉक्टर माधु, ऑल द वे फ्रॉम कोची, he came to this place just to see how it is, so I'm thankful to him also। डॉक्टर रूपू, I just said man, बोले नहीं चलूँगा, आऊँगा मैं, and retain। डॉक्टर बीपाल, हमारी उनसे बात नहीं हो पाई, पर तुरंत थ्रू मैसेज दिया and he was here। हमारे प्रेसिडेंट एंड सेक्रेटरी, प्रेसिडेंट डॉक्टर मल्होत्रा एंड सरदार, आप सभी को बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद कि आपने समय निकाला, आए और इस कार्यक्रम को सफल बनाया। और सारे डेलीगेट्स, स्पेशली द स्टूडेंट्स who have taken part in such a large number, I am really very much happy। Thank you all the students। So thank you so much, thank you very much।
पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड़ उत्कल गंगा, विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा, उच्चल जलधि तरंगा, तब शुभ नामे जागे, तब शुभ आशीष मांगे, गाहे तब जय गाथा, जन गण मंगलदायक, जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता, जय हे जय हे जय हे, जय 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 हे।
I think in the minutes of the last AGM of UPRI Society 9 on 35th UPRI Con, organized by the Regional Cancer Center, Prayagraj, the annual report of the activities conducted by the UPRI from December 2023 to November 24 was read by myself, and the financial report was of year 23-24 was read by President Dr. Kailash Mittal sir. In these 2 years, we are going to enlist a few works what we have done, accomplished work that has already got approval from the National ARI body from December 23 to November 25. Total freshly enrolled PG residents during this 2-year period is 114 out of 298 members. Now the UPRI Society is having 298, almost reaching up to 300. We are almost at par with, coming at par with most of the state chapters in terms of numbers also, and 115 members around are of the last 2 years. 2 consultants renewed their membership. separate account and a separate PAN number was started of the society. We have also included the account details with a new esteemed executive committee. The list has been attached later on. And for the very first time, we started with the official letterhead of the UPRI Society and the official logo that was approved by the National ARI body. Also, we, for the very first time, as already inaugurated, we have the members directory, UPRI members directory with the details of all the members. I had already told that 298 members are already enrolled in the society, and now we are also giving the UPRI membership numbers with the e-certificates. Almost all of the members have got the e-certificate till now. We have also increased the UPRI membership form from 1500 to 2500, and for renewal it is 1000 to 1500. And we have started the very first e-newsletter for the very first time. Right now we inaugurated the 0 edition. Now it will be on an annual basis later on, depending on the funds. Now we have also started our own very dedicated UPRI Society website containing all the details of the directory, newsletter, everything is available there. All the further informations, whatever the society will conduct or conferences will be held, all the academic activities, they will be updated in the UPRI website that is also already available at present. We have now also enlisted a few of the academic activities conducted by the various prestigious institutes of our UPRI Society. And the very important, we had constituted already some renewed with the work and based on the National ARI Constitution, we framed our own constitution, what was later on circulated to all the honorary advisory members and the executive members for their approvals and their feedback. Whatever the feedback we have got, we are doing work on it. Right now the draft is ready, but some corrections of it depending on the feedback is going on, and later on we will circulate the finalized draft to all the members of the UPRI Society, and after that it will be sent to the National ARI body for final approval. So, what are the pending ones? What we are doing? Regular online institutional academic activities under the banner of the UPRI Society. GBM approval is needed for that. Is everyone agree with it? Thanks a lot. Now we are also planning to start the UPRI fellowship program for residents and young faculties, subject to availability of the fund, which already we are increasing the funds, and that for that also we need a GBM approval. And we are proposing a constitution of a scientific committee of UPRI Society of minimum of 3 to 5 members from the executive committee to look after the scientific programs of the UPRI Gone, and also to look after the orations which are given to different personalities. So we need to find out a scientific committee for that. So for that we need a GBM approval, because the scientific committee will not interfere too much, but it will have an overlook on the academic program, the scientific program, and also the orations what are being given as per our constitution, as the constitution has already been made, is being prepared.
Mainly scientific program will be made by the organizers only, but just to review and give their valuable experience and suggestions from the senior most executive members.
With the feedbacks and suggestions. Okay, it will be as per the constitution of the UPRI Society. The organizers will have to abide by the rules of the UPRI Society. That is okay or not? I mean, the eligibility criteria has already been circulated to all the members under the constitution. There should be, and that was already been passed last year in the GBM, sir. It was passed
that mostly at least speakers should be 80% from UP, 20% from the out of UP state. That was there. None. Okay.
For the Dr. B.N. Lal oration, in the GPM of the last year, we had already passed the eligibility criteria. And also for the Dr. N.C. Pant oration, later on we conducted a survey from the official members of our society, and we got whatever the feedback. According to that feedback, we entered into the constitution, the criteria that was added. So that should be better in the line of the constitution only. The oration should be given. Okay, thank you. Now this is the account detail. Later on, Dr. Mittal will tell the account summary. This is the membership form. This is our honorary advisory committee, what we had made for our last 2-year tenures. And this is our executive committee. This is our official letterhead. This is our official logo that has already approved by the national body. This is our directive that is available on the website. You can go there, you can find all the details of all the members available, that is available on the website. This is the e-newsletter right now, inaugurated. It is also containing very important and very exclusive information. You can go through it, all the details of the UPL account, history and everything is been, and we have tried to give everything. Although कुछ कमी अगर रह गई हो तो उसके लिए sorry. This is the website. The snap has been taken from our official website. This is the constitution covering letter, covering page, what we had circulated. And we would like to tell one thing, one very important thing. एक तो हम ये बताना चाहेंगे कि हमारी UPI society, as I was going through all the chapters, different, at par with most of the chapters of our nation. We are at par with them. We are nothing less than them. We have got almost everything from the funds of the UPI society. हमने एक भी amount, zero amount use किया है अपनी UPI society की कोशिश किया कि फंड को जहाँ तक हम सेव कर सकें. हमने एक भी amount अपने इन सारे काम के लिए हमने नहीं use किए, and I am very happy for that. These are the academic activities of the SGPGI Lucknow 23-24 and 24-25. From JK Cancer Institute Kanpur 23-24 and 24-25. This is from MPMMC Varanasi 23-24 and 24-25. This is from IAS BHU 24-25. This is MLN Medical College Prayagraj 23-24 and 23-24-25. Kamala Nehru Memorial Hospital Prayagraj 24-25. SRMS Bareilly 23-24 and 24-25. SM Medical College Agra 23-24, 24-25. UPMS FI 23-24, 24-25. JNMC NU Aligarh 23-24, 24-25. And as per the ARR Agro teaching course, we are proud that in UP chapter, our Tree Institute conducted we have got the teaching courses conducted at ARO Agros and PG teaching courses, SGPGI Lucknow, 8th ARO Astro Gynae teaching course, KGLU Lucknow, and Best of Astro 2025 by RML Lucknow, and we congratulate all these institutes. And also for 2026, we have received ECROS and PG teaching course 2026 for JNMC NU Aligarh, and ARO Astro teaching course 4th ARO Astro Head and Neck teaching course from SGPGI Lucknow. And as per the last GPM, 37th UPR record was decided to be given to Dr. Sharad Sir, Kalyan Singh Super Speciality Hospital, and they are going to organize the next year UPR icon. All the best, sir. And now we have the bidders for the 2027 UPR icon. Maybe 3 institutes we got. Dr. Kailash Mittal sir from SAFI, and Dr. Siddharth Arora from Rural Health and Medical College, and Dr. Ashutosh Mukherjee sir, MPMMC Varanasi. Kailash Mittal sir, probably he has taken that his nomination. Now we have got maybe 2 bidders, Rural Health and Medical College and I want to call these two leaders to please come on the stage to Health and Medical College of and representative of MPMC BHU, MPHU Varanasi.
It's a very good thing to see. We are now having 2 to 3 people for organizing a conference. Initially, everybody must remember we will just say, please आप organize कर दो, आप करोगे तो अच्छा फिर आपको दे देते हैं. So it's a good thing. In last 2 to 3 years, many institutes are coming, many academic institutes, normal private institutes are coming to organize the conferences. It's a good thing for UPUI again.
So from MPMC, is there anyone? Please tell one or two sentences why you want to why you are waiting for the conference. Why you want to say anything about that?
Hello everyone, myself Dr. Lakshman Pandey. I am working in Royal Indian Medical College. Large institutes just cover around 6 to 7 districts surrounding, including like Shahjahanpur, Pilibhit. This is a cancer institute. Along with that, it is a medical college. So being a medical college, it's having all the super specialty and specialty. And we have around 145 PG students and 4 PG students in our department, which is starting from now. So we have a good infrastructure. I want to conduct. We have a good infrastructure.
Short, please.
So we have 2 hotels from the management itself for faculties stay. We have a good connectivity from surrounding all the UP areas like Lucknow and Agra. So why we want to conduct this? We started our department 3 years back, and we have a lot of young faculties, including Siddharth Arora, Dr. Ankita and Dr. Bharat. So we have young faculties having all the departments: surgical oncology, palliative medicines, medical oncology, hemato-oncology. So we just want to conduct this to encourage us, to our PG students, to all the PG students in all the departments from the medical college, and to increase the awareness from the surrounding areas for cancer.
Just one or two lines.
Thank you, sir, for the opportunity. So I'll just please not directly to Varanasi. For the institute, I think we are from TMC, MPMC and HTC at Varanasi, so we are well equipped, running postgraduate courses and also super specialty oncology courses in our center. We are well equipped, and as we all know, Varanasi is connected with, also well connected with many of the Vande Bharat Express trains, and also we have a functional airport which is well connected to all over India. So be a great opportunity to host you all in Varanasi. So that is why please support us.
करानी पड़ रही है.
देख लीजिएगा.
Okay. So the house is
शादी करें तो बढ़िया रहेगा.
है ना 27 का कर लो, 28 का अगले साल देखेंगे क्या होगा और प्लेयर्स आ सकते हैं। प्रेफरेंस तो और भी है सर।
अभी हम एक साल के बाद के लिए डिसाइड कर रहे हैं।
आप उनको कंफर्म कर दीजिए आप अभी।
प्रेफरेंस कर दिया है।
One thing I would like to clear that okay, the members are already here. They know who has bid and who has taken the practice name, so it's okay. So next year they will be given at some priority will be given to them. But okay, there may be some other bidders also. But ये चीज दिमाग में तो रहती है ना कि इन्होंने पिछली बार वापस ले लिया था तो उतना तो लोग थोड़ा okay. So we congratulate the Varanasi team for the 2027. So I would like to ask Kailash Mittal sir.
Thank you all, and especially my friends from Royal Medical College, Bareilly. We are really thankful to you. But one thing that was at the back of my mind was that once I was thinking of that, let it go. When I spoke to my team, they said, sir, last year ऐसे हुआ, इस साल भी ऐसे होगा. I don't know आगे को हम लोग का ये रहेगा, इच्छा रहेगा या नहीं आगे को कमेंट करने. मैं बोला I won't let you down. I just put my word. Let the general body take the decision. And I am happy and thankful to you all for having the faith in us, and I thank Dr. Lakshman and Dr. Siddharth for letting us financial report, not just for the last year, but since when we have opened the account, that was in April 2024. So this is in last 1 year, we have got collection from registrations, which includes the new registrations as well as some renewals. There is an amount of 1,19,000. And last year in GVM we have put a proposal that the organizers of the UP Airport, they will have to deposit a sum of rupees 50,000 towards the UP Airport account. And it is my pleasure to say in front of you that this UPR 36th UPR being held in Gorakhpur by Dr. Chaturvedi and his team. They have already deposited 25,000 rupees to the UPR account, and 25,000 they have committed to deposit after the conference. So in all we got a collection of 1,44,000 in last 1 year. And what were the expenditures? We paid a subscription fee to the ROI for JCRT, annual fees of 30,000 and 602 rupees something paisa for the account keeping charges as per the SBI. So in all we have a credit of almost 1,40,000 in last 1 year. So if we go into detail, what we have achieved since we have opened the account, that is, you can see last 3 years, we have got a total of 11 new registrations from May 24 to August 24 and 1 renewal. And in last 1 year, we have got 47 new registrations and 1 renewal of amount 1,19,000, 25,000 from the UPR account and 97,400. That was the money passed to us from Dr. Surabhi when she was maintaining the accounts, and this is after the deduction of the 30,000 rupees that was paid to JCRT fees to ROE for 2024. So after reducing all the debits and credits, we now have an amount of 2,28,182 rupees in UPA account as on this date. So we are healthy, becoming healthy financially, and I think as Dr. Sadaf was telling, if we can start one fellowship, I think we can start one fellowship for like of amount 10 to 15,000
I can give him liberty, and very commendable to say that we have not utilized any single rupee for all these activities which Sadaf has mentioned. So I have been very miser about this, and I think hopefully every year we will keep on increasing the count. Thank you.
Now the most awaited thing. Second, I would like to call Dr. Madhu, our election committee chairman, for the next election for ARI, UPRI president and secretary.
Thank you, Dr. Pawan. First of all, this team has done a commendable job. We have been new president, secretary, and treasurer. So for this year, first of all, I would like to invite the nominations for president, and somebody has to second it also. All the members are requested to nominate one or two or three.
I'm not sure if we can have
I think Sir has been already a president, so usually
So our new president from today, this time on, will be Dr. Sonia.
So, President, we have got only one nomination which has been seconded by here. Are there any other nominations? No. So, Dr. Sonia is being elected as President for coming 2 years. Now we move on to Secretary post. Any nominations or any comments from anybody, because this secretary has done a tremendous job, and any nominations? Anybody wants to second? So only nomination I have received Dr. Shadab, and it has been seconded. I haven't got any other name, so he is going to continue for
second name.
Somebody please nominate, then we have to go for election. Then we will have to go for voting. Who is going to second?
I second.
So now we have got two candidates. One is Dr. Shahab, nominated by Dr. Pramod and seconded by, and another nomination is also nominated by Dr. Pramod, Dr. Mahmood Khan. So anybody who wants to withdraw their nomination or candidature is, otherwise we'll have to go for voting. एक समय होता है जब तक आप withdraw भी कर सकते हैं. Otherwise we'll have to go for voting, and this voting is going to be very tough, because I have to ask the vision from both the people, what they are going to plan, what they are going to do for the benefit of our AROI. Because election में आपको बताना पड़ता है आपका क्या विजन है, क्या मिशन है.
मैं डॉक्टर सादाब के काम को बहुत ज़्यादा अप्रिशिएट करता हूँ. उन्होंने बहुत ही अच्छे से बहुत मेहनत किया इस सोसाइटी के लिए, बहुत सारी चीज़ें नई लाई, बहुत सारे इनोवेशंस किए, और मुझे भी लगता है कि आगे भी मुझे उनके सपोर्ट की बहुत ज़्यादा ज़रूरत पड़ेगी. लेकिन कुछ चीज़ें, मतलब एक आदमी जैसे कोई चीज़ करता है 2 साल 3 साल के बाद, तो उसमें और नए इनोवेशंस या नए थॉट्स की ज़रूरत होती है उसको और ज़्यादा इम्प्रूव करने के लिए. तो मुझे लगता है कि उस नए उसको और नई आइडियाज़ और नए मतलब उसमें और सारे मॉडिफिकेशंस के लिए सोसाइटी को मुझे लगता है कि और एज पर रूल हमेशा रेगुलर चेंजेस होते रहते हैं, तो उसे हमें फॉलो करना चाहिए। अदरवाइज पता चला कि हम फिर इस चीज़ को फिर पता चला धीरे धीरे वो एक ट्रेडिशन बन जाएगा, कोई 5 साल कोई 10 साल वो चीज़ें अगर कंटिन्यू होगी तो आज मतलब फिर नए इनोवेशन या नई चीज़ें ऐड ऑन नहीं होगी। तो दैट इज माई ओपिनियन। So we should follow the traditions and make the change in the society. Thank you.
By Dr. Shada.
पहले तो शुक्रिया कि आप लोगों ने इस लायक समझा कि मैं एक्सटेंशन के लिए कंसिडर हो सकूं, बहुत शुक्रिया। और वन मेरी सही है कि डॉक्टर मामून इज कॉम्पिटेंट इनफ, ही कैन डू डेफिनेटली। बस मेरे जहन में सिर्फ एक चीज़ थी कि जब भी यहाँ से कभी भी जाऊँ 2 साल 4 साल जो भी रहे, तो एक कॉम्पिटेंट हाथ में लेकर जाऊँ, ताकि जो चीज़ अब एक लेवल तक आ गई है वो आगे और कंटिन्यू हो। तो मेरा जो अभी रीडिंग था इतना दिन में, मैं इसमें 2-3 चीज़ें स्पेशली करने में सक्षम नहीं हो पाया, जिसके लिए मुझे टाइम नहीं मिल पाया उतना ज़्यादा। एक तो कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन की जो बारीकियां हैं वो थोड़ी सी बारीकियां रह गई थी, जो मैं लैक ऑफ टाइम की वजह से उसको कंप्लीट नहीं कर पाया। और मुझे हालांकि मैंने AROI वेस्ट बंगाल और नेशनल AROI की कॉन्स्टिट्यूशंस को रीड कर लिया है, तो मुझे एक अंदाज़ा हो गया कि मुझे कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन अपनी सोसाइटी के लिए कैसा रखना है, और प्लस पवन सर का गाइडेंस भी रहा है। तो मुझे मालूम है कि इस कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन को फाइनल स्टेज में कैसे पहुँचाना है। दूसरी चीज़ ये है कि अपार्ट फ्रॉम UPAROI हम जो करते हैं कॉन्फ्रेंस, पहले भी 2-3 मरतबा शायद हो चुकी है नेशनल AROI, वी आर प्लानिंग इन फ्यूचर अगले 2 साल 3 साल में, मोस्ट प्रोबेबली 2027 we are planning to bring the national AROI. We will try for that. For that I have to be an executive member of the society, so that कि मैं UP चैप्टर को वहाँ रिप्रेजेंट कर सकूँ और नेशनल AROI को वहाँ से UP में ला सकें। इसके अलावा और जो भी काम है उनमें थोड़ा सा और बढ़ोतरी करने की कोशिश, कुछ नए इनोवेशंस और ऐड ऑन करने की कोशिश, बस यही कोशिश रहेगी। सिर्फ कोशिश कर सकते हैं, बाकी तो ऊपर वाले के। थैंक यू।
So, जैसा डॉक्टर पवन ने बोला था कि आवर एसोसिएशन इज ग्रोइंग नाउ, बिड आती हैं कॉन्फ्रेंस के लिए भी और बिड आ रही हैं एग्जीक्यूटिव पोस्ट के लिए। So now we will be moving on to the voting. Before that, I need assistance from the floor for counting the vote. So for that, I invite 2 nominations जिन्होंने दिया था, डॉक्टर प्रमोद एंड डॉक्टर प्रमोद, प्लीज, बिकॉज यही दोनों सबसे ध्यान से गिनेंगे। यू कैन कास्ट योर वोट ऑल्सो, वो तो हमें पता है किसको जाना है, बट यू विल बी हेल्पिंग मी फॉर so first votes are invited for Dr. Shada. इधर भी देख
मैडम रात में आपने हाथ उठाया आपने?
डॉक्टर मामून खान। You need to count? So results are clear. Dr. Shadab will be continuing. Thank you, Dr. Mamun. It was a healthy competition. Now we move. Now last post is treasurer. Are there any nomination, or we should continue Dr. Kailash? So now I invite our new president, Dr. Sonia Tiwari, on the stage, Dr. Shadab on the stage, he is already there, and Dr. Kailash. Please come and exchange the seats, and those who are still there, they should continue.
And Lucknow has been indeed privileged to have had UP aeroplane many times, but I'll try my best that Kalyan Singh gives a new flavor to UP aeroicon. And just to welcome you, a very often quoted share from Love for Lucknow. लखनऊ है तो महज गुंबदो मीनार नहीं, लखनऊ है तो महज गुंबदो मीनार नहीं, सिर्फ एक शहर नहीं, कूचाओ बाजार नहीं, इसके दामन में मोहब्बत के फूल खिलते हैं, इसकी गलियों में फरिश्तों के पते मिलते हैं। वेलकम टू लखनऊ in 2026. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Now we have left just 2 panel discussions. We are running quite late. So first of all, I call on the stage. Correct. The panel discussion is role of adjuvant. Topic is role of adjuvant chemotherapy in triple negative breast cancer and HER2-positive breast cancer on evidence-based discussion. Dr. Moderator is Dr. Surbhi Zafar, and other panelists is Dr. Suryatwari ma'am, Dr. Isha Jaiswal, Dr. G. Meher sir, Dr. Silpa Mal, and Dr. Neeraj Agrawal. And
congratulations, President.
Moderator is Mohammad Wasim, Dr. Mohammad Wasim Raza sir.
See you as the President of UP Aero. Congratulations.
Dr. Pramod Kumar Singh sir, Dr. Faraz Khan, Dr. Faraz Khan is there? Dr. Faraz Badar is absent, so in the place of Dr. Faraz Badar, I call Dr. Harikesh Badoo Singh for the moderator. Harikesh Badoo.
Taking the biopsy, the histopathological variants may be ductal carcinoma, lobular carcinoma, medullary, and various other either NMT or metaplastic carcinoma. The treatment depends on what is the histopathology and further molecular markers. Depending on this, the management depends on all these things.
Yes, ma'am. Biopsy report came and it was suggestive of invasive ductal carcinoma, not otherwise specified. So that will be the next step of diagnosis.
So I've seen imaging and gender.
So after triple assessment and IHC4 marker test, we will proceed with the management. So how we assess for ER and PR, what kind of scoring we use for ER, PR assessment?
Hormone receptor state, IHC mark. A simple IHC is good enough. And there are a lot of differences from what to consider, like
So on the basis of IHC markers, the molecular classification is luminal A, luminal B, HER2 and classified as XTMBC. Luminal B is further classified as HER2 negative and HER2 positive. For ER/PR assessment, we go for LV scoring. That is based on proportion score, intensity and intensity score. Then coming on to HER2 new gene. So the HER2 new gene, as well as the proto-oncogene, it is located on chromosome 17 and it is amplified or overexpressed in up to 20% of human breast carcinomas. And staining for overexpression of HER2 new interpretation is on 0 to 3 plus scale. 0 to 1 staining is clear negative, 3 plus is clear positive, and 2 plus staining is equivocal. So what if the report comes out to be 2 plus, that is equivocal? What should be the next step?
If IHC shows 3 plus, definitely a HER2 positive. If it's 1 plus, definitely HER2 negative. But 2 plus is equivocal. Further correction is by Fisher ISH test. Based on that, again, it will fall either positivity or itself. So Fisher ISH the marks will be if 2 plus IHC.
There is another thing known as SCAT, that is ESMO score for clinical accountability of targets, that is done in HER2 new equivocal test. If the HER2 is high, then it is given as a SCAT score 1A, and if it is low, then it is said to be negative. Then on the basis of IHC markers and after all the metastatic workup, she is TNBC, C, T3, N1, 40 years old, young female. She received neoadjuvant chemotherapy, 4 cycles of AC followed by 4 cycles of T. Then MRN was done, and then she is now YP-T1M0. So she is again having a residual disease. What are the adjuvant therapy options for residual disease?
So in DRPC we are called platinum. It is a residual disease that actually gets putting the creative and there is also polybari.
The adjuvant treatment first give the radiation as an adjuvant treatment, then the adjuvant chemotherapy, whatever is like if the patient is affording, then adds the immunotherapy in this case, otherwise.
Correct. Either as per or it is more Columbia, immunotherapy is also AE of Pembro will also can be done. Your expenses we are not considering it on a routine basis, but other 2 things yes we do on a routine basis.
So what about immunotherapy? As we mentioned, which drug we use and what is the trial for that?
So according to the current available data, if we have not used immunotherapy neoadjuvant, then we will not add adjuvant I think first. And type 2 is the only positive study which has come out till now, which has shown PCR benefit. It has neoadjuvant pembrolizumab with tacrolimus, ADC, followed by AC, and pembrolizumab 4 cycles, then surgery, radiation, and then 1 year completion of pembrolizumab, that is around 9 doses I think actually. Other than that, other studies have been done. None has given. Currently, no one is following that. So, immuno is this much only in APC right now.
Is there a role for adding platinum in the adjuvant setting after neoadjuvant use?
So, right now what we are doing, we are using all the chemotherapy in neoadjuvant settings. So, in adjuvant, like previously, some patients are still being treated on a sandwich way, like 4 cycles of one given before surgery and then 4 after. So, as I said, right now we are adding anything, all in neoadjuvant. So, in adjuvant, what is the role of platinum? The question is,
Sir, actually,
like we said, now the basis depends on the neoadjuvant program, surgery. At the time of surgery, whether one has actually PCR or a residual disease. Based on that, the further treatment proceeds.
as like daily and days we used to do a sort of like half treatment of this part, the remaining part, something like that. Nowadays, the order of the day is to look for either physical or by completing the entire practice prior to the local treatment.
Human treatment, if we given previous pre of platinum, after that fourth cycle of Paki and Carbo, and after that as a human treatment, not always given the yes.
So actually there are a few papers which say that we can add platinum and adjuvant if there is residual disease and we can follow up. So we that's why I think this question is that whether we should go for platinum because there is residual disease after neoadjuvant chemotherapy. But there are few papers which I will share with you. जिसमें ये था कि we can add platinum in the adjuvant setting even if there is residual disease after neoadjuvant platinum. Maybe. Adjuvant setting. We have already discussed about olaparib in molecular trial. This is the consensus of all the adjuvant and neoadjuvant therapy regimens available for triple negative breast cancer. As we can see in stage 1, we go for dose dense AC followed preceded by paclitaxel or TC. In stage 2 and 3, we go with chemo 522. And in adjuvant setting, stages 1 to 3, if residual disease after preoperative therapy with taxane, eltanetant, and anthracycline based chemotherapy, then capecitabine. If germline BRCA1 and BRCA2 mutations, then olaparib. How should follow-up and surveillance be planned in such high-risk cases?
Sonia, your mic is not working. Mic is not working. Mic.
Yes. So genetic counseling is also important during the follow-up if the BRCA is positive to other family member and the screening for the metastasis.
Now we move to case number 2.
I would like to add, era of PET-CT, I would like to use yearly PET. Yearly PET is good enough, I believe.
So I just
Particularly in this case.
metastatic.
Mammography I will be doing actually, definitely. Otherwise, maybe USG actually to see. But although for early disease it is not the right. But if someone is doing PET, it is not wrong. In NBC, LBC only. Like because I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just saying what I do. Yeah, I'm not saying that it should not be done.
Can I seek opinion from Dr. Farhan regarding the PET-CT scan in LABC in a follow-up procedure?
Please repeat the question.
The question is whether we go for annual PET-CT in case of TNBC or LABC.
Yes.
In follow-up or screening after completion of treatment.
After completion of treatment, annual up to 5 years.
See, the PET-CT is generally
sometimes it's futile because it can sometimes pick up some small things which is generally not necessary. So what I practice is CCT type, thorax, abdomen and pelvis, CT scan and annual CT scans, serial for 5 years, and then the patient is alright because TNBC has the maximum chance of recurrence in first 2 to 3 years. 2 to 3 years. So if things are going smoothly, then we can stop after 5 years.
For any radiologist around, probably they can afford that study where you follow for 5 years without PET CT, with PET CT. With PET CT, they found about 13 to 25%. I'm not sure about the figures. At least less than 25% of the metastases have been picked up by using PET CT. Whereas CT and MR, they were not picked up.
Okay. So, we catch the disease earlier with PET CT.
What I mean to say, probably in this day, as presently,
and what is the HCM sir? We should do for PET CT or CCT annual?
No, I think PET CT is when you are doing CT, that's what study has shown. Less than almost near 25% of extra mixed up will be picked up with PET CT.
Coming on to case number 2, 45-year-old premenopausal women, PT1CN0, ERPR negative, HER2 3+, post BCS, came to our OPD. What should be the next step in management? Should the patient receive adjuvant chemotherapy?
This is ERPR negative and HER2 positive. Yes, madam. In HER2 positive case, probably even A or B also should receive HER2 therapy. And the question of chemotherapy starts if it is more than 1 centimeter, if I am not wrong. So in this patient, I would like to go with, probably if it is less than 2 centimeters of primary lesion, I would like to go with a double agent, either PC with H. Probably the question of double HER2 therapy has certain parameters. I don't know whether you have seen or not.
Like I mentioned, like if they lesion more than 0.5 centimeter, according to the current guidelines, treatment should be given. And then another trial is the APT trial, and they included up to 3 centimeter of disease, up to 3 centimeter. All 3 centimeter was lesser in overall the population, and they showed benefit with only taxane and trastuzumab. So we are reducing the chemo as well as the dual program. So they have shown good ideas benefits. So APT study up to 3 centimeter we would follow DH for weekly blood cycles, then followed by trastuzumab for a year. In between, if there are other features like LBS or something else, we can go for radiation as well. If BCS was there, definitely it should be.
If we have been given pertuzumab upfront surgeries, so pertuzumab doesn't have role in adjuvant setting. As such, we don't have any data to add pertuzumab with paclitaxel or trastuzumab. Do we have any data for this adding pertuzumab in adjuvant setting? If the patient hasn't received in the neoadjuvant setting.
Yes, there are clear trials and guidelines.
In adjuvant. They've also used in the NSCT also. Only adjuvant setting.
No. Even NSCT, of course, if this patient does not fit into that, there is a fixed criteria, either 5 centimeters plus, or if it is more than 2 centimeters or more than 2 centimeters, if it is HER2 negative. These two conditions, double HER2 therapy is indicated. But as you said that in an adjuvant setting, if there is a complete response, I mean CPR, still 1 year to be continued, that's what they say. But in my practice, if it is hormone positive, I am avoiding in PCR. Only single agent trastuzumab is continued for it. I mean, this out of this thing, I just changed my practice. Yes, in adjuvant play there is.
So for how long? 1 year for
up to 1 year.
Coming on to case number 3, 50-year-old female, ERPR negative, HER2/neu2+, post-MRN, no neoadjuvant treatment was given. It is PT2N1. What is the preferred adjuvant treatment for such a patient?
Guidelines are very clear, madam. Anything 5 centimeters or anything more than 2 centimeters, not positive or not positive, yes, we need to go for dual HER2 therapy.
And if it is node positive or high risk, we will add.
So, even in the risk category bed, hormonal receptor status is one of the factors. If it is positive, probably it comes low risk. If it is negative, ERPR negative, then it comes high risk. So when the primary size is 2 centimeters above also, one is considered, one has to consider.
Coming on to case number 4, 42-year-old female, YPT1BN1 post-MRN after neoadjuvant TCHP. What is the adjuvant management for residual HER2 positive disease?
Yeah, there is only 2 settings, madam, after dual HER2 therapy. Whether one has achieved complete pathological response or there is a resistance. If complete pathological response, continue the same dual therapy till year. If there is residual disease, upstage, upgrade the treatment. Go for category.
Just 2 days back, and last month, ESMO update has come. Destiny Test 5. They have compared directly TD and HER2 with Keytruda, and they have 6 to 7% OS and IDPS benefit. So very soon it will be coming TDLG in SMA.
Yeah, ESMO, TDF in the residual disease.
Direct 2 days back. Yeah, the same benefit is TDM1 add on pH. That much they are getting in TDM.
But the issue is, Dr. Neeraj, if you will give if it is proposed that TDX can be given in adjuvant setting, so if there is a progression later on, so can we switch to TDM, because TDX in metastatic on second setting has much important role than TDM.
This is a very bad headache which TDAG is giving. It is coming across everywhere. It has come in first time metastatic disease. Now it has come in residual disease. Very soon it will be coming in NST. And it will be creating a lot of challenge for us to decide what next kind of HER2 therapy is to be given. Because whatever studies are there are all pre-TDAG data. Now TDAG is coming, destroying all those lines. So I'm at a loss of words what to say right now. No one knows actually. It is going to be a hell.
जब तक नहीं आती तब तक TDM
present.
This is all about Catherine trial. We have already discussed. There is another drug called Neratinib. So can you
Not available in India, I think, no? Not available. It's available. Okay. But I haven't given any patient. I haven't given narrative any patients. I haven't tried it.
It has been shown to improve invasive ESS, especially in patients with HR positive, HER2 positive disease. These are the recommendations, consensus recommendation for systemic therapy in HR positive or negative HER2 positive disease. So I will wind up my presentation at this point. Thank you.
Just one question. Any experience with capecitabine as adjuvant treatment after if the patient has not had complete pathological response as maintenance chemotherapy?
TNBC.
TNBC.
No, madam. Like, there is no residual disease, no more this thing. But
The patient has not had a pathological complete response.
there is a
immunotherapy. And there is a complete response. There is a complete response, no residual disease, patient has achieved PCR, and germline BRCA is positive. So it's better to continue pembrolizumab, or we should switch on from pembrolizumab to olaparib.
Again, there are two challenges in this. First, if there is a PCR, first, if there is not a PCR. So according to Keynote 522, they did not use capecitabine. They have mentioned this in their methodology. And about germline BRCA, the data is not there whether they did it or not, or olaparib was given or not. So, as per trial, we don't know. We should not give as per trial. But if clinically speaking, if I have to do, if there is no PCR, I would give capecitabine along with pembro. And if there is PCR, then I would go for pembro alone. If there is PCR with germline BRCA, then I would give olaparib with pembro. Although there is no direct data for this, this is what I do. Because there is no answer to it, because the trial was designed according to that.
No head-to-head comparison, basically, no?
There will never be a study where
No.
there is a germline BRCA positive and there is a non-PCR capecitabine versus olaparib. I don't think that study is ever going to be done. Ever PCR based trial going to be. So what do we do in that? When there is a no PCR and there is germline.
When there is a there is a residual disease and
There is a YP disease and when there is a...
No, I am asking if there is a PCR and patient has received pembrolizumab, and that's
I told you I would give...
olaparib.
I don't remember about the trials, but lately, suppose a DNBC patient has come with a recurrence. Let us say it is PD-L1 positive and BRCA positive. So among the two, which one to choose? All the time, olaparib. PARP inhibitors do much better. They routine regular practice. So I have been using almost, I have seen double to the DFS benefits.
Rightly said, sir. Because in that trial, Keynote 355, the 10% CPS score should be greater than 10% for starting that pembrolizumab. But still, the survival advantage is not as greater as if there is a germline BRCA and patient is receiving olaparib. So if there is a germline BRCA, olaparib has a definite role. So we should start olaparib as soon as possible in germline BRCA.
Are there any trials using both? Pembro plus olaparib? I don't know.
No.
Thank you so much. I call on the stage Honorary Secretary Mamoon Khan sir to present the memento to all the dignitaries of the stage. Dr. Faraz Khan. Tabassum Samani.
Lung cancer in India. So lung cancer is responsible for approximately 5.9% of all cancer and it is responsible for 8.1% of cancer death in India. Non-small cell lung cancer is approximately 50% of all lung cancer burden in India. Most of the cases are diagnosed in stage 3 and 4 and stage 3 non-small cell lung cancer is approximately 29% of all non-small cell lung cancer burden. So I will skip staging part. So I would like to tell that stage 3 lung cancer is very heterogeneous group. In this we see all groups of T like T1, T2, T3, T4. Even we also see N0, N1, N2, N3. So this green color is basically stage 3K that includes T1 and N2, T2 and N2 and T3, N1, T4, N0 and N1. The stage 3 is shaded with orange color. It is T1, T2, N3, T3, T4, N2 and stage 3 is in red color. That is T4 and N3 and T4 and N3. So I will start the first case. So case persistent cough with perforation, chest pain and intermittent dyspnea for the last 1 month. And this is the chest X-ray done by general physician that is showing some especially in the right mid-rim of lung. So he underwent CT scan and then he came to us. This scan is showing some lesion in the periphery of the right lung mid-lung. So I would like to ask our panelists, so what could be the technique to confirm the diagnosis? Whether they would like to refer it to pulmonologist for bronchoscopy biopsy or interventional radiologist for the image biopsy.
And very accessible percutaneously as well. So most probably we will be going for multimodality treatment. तो यहाँ पर मैं percutaneously मेरे ख्याल से सबसे easily available modality यहाँ पे available है diagnosis के लिए भी. And in case if you want to investigate further for INCs and for the systemic
Peripheral lesion. So we have actually practically we have only two choices, either bronchoscopy, biopsy for central lesion, which is present in the main bronchus, or some image biopsy. So this is actually peripheral lesion. So we will refer it to some interventional radiologist or radiologist for some CT. So biopsy was done that has shown non-small cell lung cancer adenocarcinoma. So anything else to be done? Some marker?
Yes, sir. Very simple. AGS for lung cancer. Probably because adenocarcinoma it was not only 1 per month. Probably usage of these markers. But this is a locally advanced stage. I mean, what is involved? So if that is the case, if it's early stage, still, if it's still 3 years.
Okay, so we have done the molecular study and all known markers are negative, everything is negative. So what is the next step? Whether CT is sufficient or we should go for some other imaging.
Just CCT thorax abdomen part of the static marker. PET CT everybody falls positive rate, but if there is involvement of node, then PET CT can give a better idea about that is proper staging. My opinion, CCT thorax abdomen is sufficient. PET may have role, but that is the possibility.
I'm sorry to oppose your statement. If it is curable, like upright, very appropriate, there is a radiation. In that stage, the question of PET CT is why are we doing this? Once it is a T3, probably one need to consider PET CT upright. And in fact, this PET CT, not after getting molecular markers, the minute the biopsy has shown morphology is malignancy, yes, one has to consider PET CT in this case. This is my take.
Even if we see the NCCN guidelines, so now step will be to standard of care in
I agree with Dr. Meher, since the tumor appears to be T3 or the chances of nodal spread would be high. So and all the decisions would be like affected by it. So even I would recommend a whole body PET CT for this particular patient.
So these are the studies showing utility of PET scan. So what are the limitations of PET scan? So any need of brain imaging?
such. One is renal clearance, as long as creatinine is not less. And another issue that can delay the thing is glycemic. Probably one is hyperglycemic, probably brought to normal level, then can be considered. Otherwise, like any scanning CT or MRI which has got complicated, dye-related complication, the same thing is not important.
Actually, brain metabolism of globally is actually high, so we can miss brain metastasis in PET scan. So it is now recommended that we should go for MRI based on stage 2 to 3 lung cancer.
Stage 3, that is there is a recommended MRI brain stimulation is required in stage 3. In my opinion, if we are planning for theory.
I don't know about the guidelines, but in a routine practice, what we are doing is the incidence of non-small cell lung cancer is growing in brain mets, small cell growing in brain mets. Yes, in a small cell, probably one has to consider MRI brain. But in non-small cell, I am not doing on a routine basis, neither my own colleagues. I don't know.
Maybe we are not doing because of some cost issues and insulin patients. But at least we see, because I was in females, so we take it in MRI brain separately apart from the distance.
I think clinical symptoms should be taken in consideration. If there is a little bit of symptomatic patient, then we should consider cough. But I don't think a routine MRI should be done for these patients.
Definitely, ma'am. Clinical indication should always be taken into account because definitely most of the patients may cause factors or SIA.
Actually, that is the main problem if we are working in routine. Okay, so any better modality for mediastinal staging? So PET scan is done, suppose it is node negative and we want to do something better or something for confirmation of mediastinal. So actually mediastinal PET scan is actually not very accurate for mediastinal lymphoma. Even tubercular lymphoma can sign on PET scan. So whether positive or negative we should document by doing bigger.
So what you said is correct, sir, but the thing is here in this aspect, where one is going for surgery, in that radioscopy to rule out the other side of the node is involved, and N2 node, to delineate that is done by going post-surgery. Suppose in this case, the stone is involved, I mean, you said, I don't know whether surgeon has to say whether he will go for PET surgery. I doubt, he may not.
So even if we are not going for upfront surgery, but still we have to be very clear from the start what is our intent. So we should be clear from the because it is N2 and directly it is also self-insured. So that's why it is recommended to be actually yes. Even there are mediastinal they do mediastinal if it is multi-station, then
we agree for that because after surgery, one has to do that. But taking once just wall or two guys, I doubt.
okay, so actually.
So I think on this you might agree with me until we get some indications on the imaging itself. So directly going for mediastinal is something even we don't practice. Directly को नहीं जाते हैं. Indications हमें मिल रहे हैं. तो nodal sampling equivalent definitely बन जाता है.
We go for mediastinal then we do mediastinal on table. We use the technique, we do mediastinal and we remove the lymph node, we do section. If it is negative, through mediastinal we can go parallel. If they are negative, then it is So we have done a PET scan which has ruled out the metastasis. So lesion is confined to lung, it is T3 and lymph node is N1. So the T3 N1 disease adenocarcinoma and all molecular tests are negative. So what should be continuous treatment for this condition? How many will be in favor of radiation?
Basically, this position is basically the surgical oncologist, because the treatment modality is the multidisciplinary approach, and surgical treatment is, if it is operable, then go from upfront surgery, because this patient is belonging to E3 level. And I think, in my opinion,